want you to remember, you represent your daddy.
Yeah, I know. What she want to see us for anyway?
Maybe she got something special in mind for you, boy.
Cool.
She's a box tail. She know talent when she sees it. Besides, they owe this family a lot. Your daddy, he stood tall for them.
I know. He a soldier.
Like father, like son.
No doubt.
See, y'all, the saying like father, like son is sometimes the furthest thing from the truth. And not just on television, but in my real life, I've seen children break under the pressure of expectation. The more great or famous their fathers were, the more difficult it is for them to cultivate their own identity, to escape a shadow of someone that they can never be. And I think that imitation is a compliment, but what Naaman should respect about his father is his characteristics, his bravery, his conviction, his loyalty. But as a man who has played the game and lost and have a life sentence in jail, his decisions should not be emulated, at least innovated. Try to bring in a new method to get a different outcome, since no one aspires to be in jail.
That's what you gonna tell your father the next time you see him? That you trying? Or you gonna tell him what you've done?
Well, he done got him locked up.
That's right. Weebay walked in Jessup a man, and he gonna walk out one. But you out here, wearing his name, acting a bitch. Oh, look at you, crying now.
Now, first, for women who may think like Delonda, you cannot force your son to be more like his father. For one, courage is not hereditary. Courage is a virtue that is developed over time by us being confident in ourselves and facing our fears with a purpose. And as far as hustling, why should Naaman be built like Weebay? He wasn't even raised under those conditions. Remember, Weebay dropped out of school in the 6th grade to hustle with Avon and Stringer. The 6th grade. Any 12-year-old with that authority over his life must have a dysfunctional household with little to no structure. So if Weebay didn't have any money for school clothes, they probably weren't going to magically appear on his bed one night.
What you mean Kennard took the stage? And he's still walking around?
You can talk to him, Mom. Make sure this never happened again.
Look at me, boy. Kennard got to feel some pain for what he did. He got to. You don't what, motherfucker? This how you pay me back for all the love I showed? Shit. I've been kept you in Nike since you were in diapers.
Now, Delonda is not wrong for providing for her son, because that's her duty. But Delonda is wrong for forcing him into a life that he is not prepared for, or shouldn't be prepared for. See, you can't spoil your child for 14 years, then expect him to understand how cold the world is. You want a green little boy to open up a block because he gotta pay all of your bills and maintain your lifestyle? You need him to maneuver through life and death situations, discipline his workers, basically be a grown-ass man, all the while in the 8th grade with a history of getting things that he barely worked for. How does this make sense? And just because Weebay is good at something that he had to do out of necessity does not mean his son will be good at it simply because you want him to be.
Yeah, he's one of yours, right?
He hang around the gym, mostly waiting on his boy Michael. He don't box or nothing. He ain't that kind, really. Not like his father.
Yeah, who's his father?
Dude named Weebay. Stoneheader used to run with them Boxdales.
I know him. Shit, I locked him up in Philadelphia.
Yeah? Bay was my cut buddy. We jailed down Jesse. Anyway, name is from him. Same blood, but not the same heart.
Now, unlike most Wired fans, I don't believe that Delonda is evil. Lost and turned out? Yes. Ignorant and selfish? Yes. But evil? I can't really say that with conviction, because I understand women like Delonda. I grew up around them, and their sons are my friends. So I had a front row seat of how overbearing mothers affect their sons on a long-term level. They tend to suffer from anxiety. They tend to have low self-esteem and associate confidence with material possessions like clothes. They tend to be very indecisive and uncomfortable in leadership positions. And the irony in this is that these women's intentions are the exact opposite of the outcomes they get. They actually want strong men, but they lack understanding of how to raise strong men, which is not their fault. But what is their fault is that in the absence of strong men, some of them attempt to take on both roles, be the mother and the father. And again, with good intentions. But this attempt is futile because now the child won't benefit from a father or a mother. Just like structure and discipline, a boy also needs that unconditional love and support. We need somebody who's going to accept us, whether we're successful in life or whether we're a bum. See, we accept that our pop love is a little bit more circumstantial, but don't rob us of what comes natural to you just because he's not around.
So with Bodie and his boys, they treating you right?
Yeah, he cool.
Boy, don't lie to your father. He don't even show up for work half the damn time. Bodie told me.
Missed a few days, that's all, Dad.
And what money you do make, you waste on nonsense. And if you think I'ma give you a dime for your school clothes, you better think again.
What Bodie got you doing?
I'm a runner most days.
Everybody got to start somewhere.
You better listen to your father.
He ain't tell you about that hair though, huh?
Rated or something? Yeah, he said I gotta get it cut. I like it this way.
Even the white police looking out from 3 blocks away gonna be able to spot you from every other nigga out there. They gonna hop out and say, look at the boy over there with the pretty ass ponytail. Get him. Think I'm bullshitting. Either you real out there or you ain't, man. See what I'm saying?
Now, the reality for Weebay is that although he had life in jail, his name and his sacrifice still allows his family a certain privilege around the neighborhood. Amongst his peers, Naaman is about the only one that grew up financially stable, not really having to hustle like his friends, instead doing so only to fit in, to feel accepted in the streets and in the house.
Make me proud. Here.
Now, even through all of this, it's still hard to feel sorry for Naaman because of his consistent bullying of Dookie. Now, in almost every group of friends, the weakest link will always get picked on and singled out by the second weakest link in the group. And not necessarily because they enjoy it, but because of a dire need to distinguish themselves from their last slot. So naturally, Naaman will use the weapon that works on him the most, which is verbal abuse. See, he tends to raise his voice at Dookie and berate him, and solely because he perceived that Dookie is the safest choice, when the truth is they actually have a lot of things in common. But that prey on the weak, bully mentality comes from Delonda also. Remember she said to Michael and Randy, look at these big ass 8th graders. Look like some 6th graders gonna get banked on. Like what, Delonda? This what you promoted in the crib? No wonder all of Naaman's workers are either younger than him or smaller, because no one his age will respect him as a superior.
Watch the ride. Hey, yo, look, man, please do not be having your mama come talk for you. Man, I ain't have her do nothing. She just get on the horse and come with it.
Look, I done did everything I can for you and yours, but from here on, your moms can't do nothing to help. All right?
Him? From Weebay?
Alright, y'all. Let me know down in the comment section if you think that Delonda is evil. I won't argue if you do. Shit, I feel you. I just feel like she's more ignorant and selfish, which is a bad combination in itself for a woman trying to raise a teenage boy. But common where we're from. And we can't just let Weebay get off so easy, because Bay could have put a stop to shit before it started. Although Delonda got legal custody over Naaman, Weebay still wielded more influence from jail and ultimately had the last say-so. Yeah, he gave him the bunny COVID in the end, but so much could have happened in between that. But let me know, y'all. It's your boy Sports. You here in a man's world. Thanks for coming through again, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe to the video and all that. It's time for me to get out of here, y'all.
Yo, you heard how Marlo punked Bodie? Said he either gotta work for him or give up his corner. Don't you know his sorry ass buckled? Oh, you'd have gone about it different? Yeah, I just did talk, like you. Got my 9, fuck Kristen. Just leave, all spit and fire. You'd have gone to the mattress all by your lonesome and went up against half of the West Side. You got it where it counts, and I respect that more than anything. But shit out there now, ain't like it was when you was coming up. Back in the day, punk nigga like Marlo steps out, breaking the rules and shit, he find himself in the back of the car trunk on the way to Lincoln Park. No doubt, we did that shit right. Word was your bomb, man looked out for his own, knowing he in the family. They gonna come from? Today, that fucked up.
YouTube. Now, if you a Wire fan, a real Wire fan like myself, then your favorite season has to be season 1 or season 3. The casual Wire fan seems to only know about season 4. That's because season 4 is based on Marlo, Chris, Snoop, you know, the popular names. Season 4 also highlights the deficiencies in the public school system, so kids are involved. Now we got Naaman, Dookie, Michael, and this dynamic of the show shows us how vulnerable and impressionable kids can be when it comes to street life, and how easy it is to get sucked in depending on your situation. So with all that being said, season 4 is great in its own right, but season 1 is something classical, timeless about season 1. You could watch it 10 times and not get tired and learn a new lesson. Now, Marlo, Chris, and Snoop, they weren't in season 1, but they were alive and hustling during this time. This lets you know that there was a time that Marlo wouldn't dare go to war with Avon Barksdale. 3 years prior, the quality of killers that was at Avon's disposal was superior to everyone else in Baltimore, and it was clear. He even had ties to killers like Brother Mozone in New York. But the leader of his army, of his killers, was no other than Roland Weebay Bryce, the end of an era. Now I'm about to hit this intro real quick, y'all, so we can hop into it. Roland Weebay Bryce. He was raised in West Baltimore and dropped out of school in the 6th grade to hit the corners with Avon Barksdale and Stringer Bell. He had a natural talent for violence, so he was the main enforcer / hitman for the Barksdale organization. Now, Weebay may be a fictional character in the HBO series, but his name and background is based on a real legendary hitman from Baltimore. Ed Burns, the creator of the show, is an ex-detective. His character is depicted by Roland Presbolewski. He investigated high-end drug traffickers in the 1980s, and one of the biggest dope dealers at the time was Thomas H. Taylor and his partner in crime, Vernon Bay Collins, also known as the Bay Brothers. Vernon Collins was a narcotics hitman who was feared throughout the underworld in Baltimore. David Simon wrote about him in his book, Homicide, A Year on the Killing Streets. Now, the first time that we got to witness Weebay's personality was right after D'Angelo beat that body. And this scene is important because it shows us that they are more than just the average crack dealer, selling crack to get by. No, this is an organization. They have rules. They have a structure, a belief system that they believe give them the best chance to survive or avoid prison time. And if you broke these rules, you will be chastised, verbally, but most of the time, physically. Because if a man lacks discipline, he is more vulnerable to become a police informant.
What's the rule?
I know the rule. Say it.
Don't talk in the car. Or on the phone or in any place that ain't ours, and don't say shit to anybody who ain't us. But it was just you, yo. It's your fucking truck. Don't talk in the car.
Now, the most important thing that Weebay said to D'Angelo just now was nothing. He uses silence to magnify his point. And he takes the approach of a drill sergeant and a cadet. After D'Angelo repeats the rules out loud, he does what most human beings do, attempt to justify. But in the streets, a good excuse is still just an excuse. So Weebay demonstrates his leadership skills. Instead of countering what D'Angelo says, making him his equal, Weebay uses rank and remains silent and unmoved, reminding D'Angelo of his place within the organization. Something that D'Angelo struggles with sometimes because of his close relationship to the leader. He's Avon's nephew, but you have to follow the rules too. Even more so than us, because you might be the king one day. But personally, I think that this rule was only enforced by Weebay. Because after Weebay is gone, even Avon himself is seen talking shop in the car with Stringer, with Slim Charles. He forgot all of the discipline of the old days, resulting in a fast trip back to jail. Weebay really is the end of it.
No, motherfucker. It ain't just up to stank 'em to be muscle. You got to pick. Your people supposed to be ready for the re-up. You supposed to be steady for him. But where you at? You in a goddamn sandwich shop. You got $20,000 D coming into your shop, and you ain't even around to see that shit right.
Look, I thought
No, thinking was what you wasn't doing, and now we look like bitches. You feel me? We got to come back on them, and you can't even tell me shit about who they was.
Now, if you pay attention throughout The Wire, especially season 1 and season 2, you start to understand the link between Weebay and D'Angelo. Avon gave Weebay the task when they were young to take D'Angelo under the wing and make him tough. This is why everywhere D'Angelo goes, Weebay also goes. From the beginning of season 1 in the courtroom where D beats the body, to the end of season 1 where D snitches on Weebay and they both go to jail. All throughout the show, Weebay's job was to school D. And the irony is, D dies in jail, and Wee-Bey most likely will too. But like I was saying, Wee-Bey somewhat raised D'Angelo. This is why he was locked up for a body in the first place, because all of that time he spent around Wee-Bey. Behavior rubs off. D even lied to Bodie, Poop, and Wallace about killing a girl that Wee-Bey killed, showing there was a social pressure from his peers to live up to his last name. Now, The Wire did a beautiful job with how they hide parallel stories. Most people never even notice that Naaman is now D'Angelo. And failing to make D'Angelo tough and a solid soldier like himself played a huge role in why Wee-Bey let Bunny Colvin have his son. D got 20 years for trying to live up to the Barksdale name and died in jail. And Naaman was going to die trying to live up to Wee-Bey's name. This is why I love this conversation between him and Delonda so much.
Oh, no, you not. You ain't gonna take my son away from me. Not for
Remember
these.
who the fuck you talking to right here. Remember who I am. My word is still my word. In here, in Baltimore, and in any place you could think of calling home, it'll be my word that finds you. Man, come down here to say my son could be anything he damn please.
Except a soldier.
Yeah, well, look at me up in here. Who the fuck would want to be that if they could be anything else, Delonda?
Now, Wee-Bey has so much depth to him. He truly is an underrated character. I remember the first time that I heard him say that. Well, who the hell would be this if they can be anything else? Referring to a soldier. And this showed maturity. It showed growth. Even if it had to come from a jail cell. He now understands that he failed to mold D. He failed to mold his son. Both of them are really soft. They are not like him or truly built for the game. They act hard, but they're just trapped inside of a role that they have to play for the sake of their family. Plus, Wee-Bey is not stupid. Bodie just got smoked for his corner. Avon back in there with him. Stringer Bell is dead. There's nobody out there to really look out for his son. So you got three options. You can wait for him to die. You can wait for him to get booked and y'all could be cellies or something. Or you can give him to an ex-police major. Because Delonda, your baby mom, no, we seen how that turned out with Brianna. Black single mothers have no idea how to turn boys into strong men. So they settle for trying to make them hard, but they fail at that too. And all y'all end up making is emotional, violent men.
I know it ain't go so good, but that nigga Pooh, he caught me off guard. He came at me like he was crazy.
So you shoot the motherfucker?
I'm saying, it was him or me.
You in our building. You got people on both stairs. You got more motherfucking people out in the court. And you got a gun. So what I'm trying to figure out is how the fuck you end up shooting this nigga in front of the security booth with all them people around?
Man, this nigga was coming at me like he was trying to end me.
This ain't about him. It's about you. You can't play him out of that lobby. You can't take a beating neither. So the first thing you do, you get all emotional. You pull your gun out. You do some dumb shit. Then now we got a workaround.
I know.
Now, I couldn't talk about Wee-Bey without bringing up his relationship with Omar too. They had two of the more realistic shootouts. And people may not realize it, but Wee-Bey is the only man to ever shoot Omar. Now, he was the reason behind Omar leaving Baltimore for NY, and Omar didn't come back until Wee-Bey and Avon were locked up.
Hey, who the fuck is you?
Omar come and call.
Omar, shit. Yo, ain't that nigga dead? I heard them project niggas lit him up.
Nah, I heard they ran his ass up out of this town.
Spread the word, darling. Omar back.
This is important because even Chris and Snoop could not shoot Omar. Yeah, y'all made him jump out of a window, but y'all had O-Dog and Michael there with y'all, and you couldn't put one bullet inside of him? And Kennard, the young boy who killed Omar, I don't really count him because of how it happened. All I'm saying is, put some respect on Weebay's name. Everybody should have respected him after season 1, when he knew he was finished, so he tried to take the bodies of everybody else. That was thorough. He went past accountability because Weebay and D'Angelo is the only reason that Avon got that short sentence. But let me know what y'all think down in the comment section, y'all. I know there's a lot that I left out on Weebay, and I'm gonna cover it soon. But hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed for me, y'all. You here at a man's world. It's time for me to get out of here. Out. It's your boy Swoop, y'all, and today I'm dedicating this episode to my youngins, man. For all of my young savages, my demons, all the ones out there drilling on shit, going crazy, and not knowing how to conduct their goddamn self in homicide interrogations. I got something for y'all, because the thing is, my youngins, they think that they know everything. And I've been there. I understand. You feel me? I've been at that place in my life where I felt like I had nothing to lose. And when you feel like that, if you ever in that space and you feel like you got nothing to lose and you young, in our community, in the black community, you either gonna hustle or you gonna drill on shit. You gonna do something to get your success and get your respect. So I'm not here to really criticize the young boys and grind them up, but to help y'all out. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of y'all lack basic knowledge when it comes to basic tactics used by homicide detectives during interrogations. And if you ask a young nigga, like, what do you do when getting interrogated? All they got to say is, well, you don't rat, or you don't rat. Well, how do you conduct yourself during this interrogation? You got to tell me something else. And they really have nothing else for you. So this lets me know that a lot of them are doomed the moment they step foot through them doors, because you don't know what them people can do to you and what they can't do to you. So you damn sure don't know what they gonna do to you. And the thing is, we have to learn these things if you're gonna be out here in the streets, young nigga. You feel me? My channel not really gonna be about that, but I've been seeing a lot of this lately, and I'm choosing not to criticize y'all because I understand other people may not understand why y'all doing what y'all doing, and it may not make no sense, you feel me? But I understand that you may just be a little lost right now. And just because somebody points you down the wrong path and you choose to walk, that don't make you a bad person, you feel me? I understand that us as black people, we gonna use, or people period, people are going to use whatever resources they have around them to further help them succeed. You feel me? That's just what we want to do. So, let's get into this, y'all.
Dream about all black rangers. Wake up, growing up, homicide.
Yeah. Go to sleep, dream about all black Range Rovers. Wake up, throwing up, homicide, hangovers. Call up Sam the Johnny right here. Call up Lean the Problem right there. That's at least 5 homies right there.
American rebels, we were born to rebel.
Understand, the moment that you walk into a district, regardless of who you are in your city, it is intended to strip you of any power that you have on the outside. It is intended to make you feel weak and helpless, first and foremost. That's why I'm going to start with a place that accumulates so much trauma with us in the black community, and that is the holding cell. See, the holding cell symbolizes isolation. The holding cell was designed specifically to make you feel exactly how it makes you feel alone. so that you experience the highest level of loneliness and that you're vulnerable. They want to enhance that sense of isolation. Understand, human beings, we are social creatures. We are most psychologically sound when interacting with other human beings. See, socially isolated people are less able to deal with stressful situations, like sitting in a cell alone, contemplating how you might be about to fight a body. See, they are also more likely to feel depressed and have problems processing this information. This can lead to difficulties with decision making and trying to recall certain events. They leave you in that building for hours because it makes humans feel powerless, alone, paranoid, and it increases your anxiety. All of these components play a role in how clearly you will be able to think by the time the interrogation starts. Remember this. Be aware of this. The longer you are in a holding cell, the more likely it is that they need you to crack. They need you weak. They need you tired. They need you fiending for perks, weed, cigarettes, whatever. But the point is, they need you. Without you incriminating yourself, their case is probably so weak that a district attorney can't even process it. But remember this. In these situations, they will always portray that they're the one in control, that you need them. Remember this. Now, my young demons, this is an important part because for seasoned detectives, a lot of seasoned homicide detectives, this is where the interrogation even starts. And this is where a lot of y'all tend to mess up at. And the homicide detective already know he got you from the rip. This is when he's going to come in and he's going to start to ask you irrelevant questions. Questions that they already know. Is your name so-and-so? Is your mother's name so-and-so? Is this you right here in the picture? Is this your address? Understand, these questions are only being asked to analyze your mannerisms. These questions are only being asked to pinpoint your expressions when being truthful and to build a behavioral baseline. They will almost always be asked with a polite, friendly tone, with an inviting voice. Some of the detectives will even come in dressing like you. They'll come in with a Gucci belt on, with some designer jeans, trying to be as relatable as possible. This is when they will start their small talk. They will come in talking about women, talking about sports. Some of them will even start talking about street politics. Now listen, this is some advice when you get to this part. I'm gonna call it the questionnaire part. The questionnaire of irrelevant shit. They call it a behavioral baseline. When you get to this part where they're asking you irrelevant questions like, what is your name? Take 4 seconds to answer every question. Even irrelevant ass questions like, what is your name? Is this your mother's name? Is this you? When they ask you, is your name Jerome? Yes. Is your mother name Betsy? Yes. By the time they get to, did you kill Ray Ray with a 45? You could say, no. Now, it might seem funny, but it would really bother them if you did this, because it would be making their job harder. Now, because they built this fake ass rapport with you, this will be the part where they try to offer you some food, give you a cigarette, something to drink, get you a little comfortable, tell you that they like you, you know, you feel me? In a slick ass manipulative way. They gonna try to slide in there to how they don't believe that you're the type of guy who would do this, and tell me your side of the story. Oh, trust me, man. Lawyer? Nah, you don't need no lawyer. Fifth Amendment? What's that, man? You don't need that, man. My advice to y'all, youngins, my advice to y'all, do not take anything that a police officer offers you. Like I before, we are social creatures. Most human beings have a moral obligation to return favors. If somebody gives you $1 if you needed it, then you see that they needed $1, you would morally feel obligated to give it to them. It's something in your conscience that would encourage you to do it, whether you want to admit that or not. Plus, the uncomfortable isolation is more incentive for you to be nice to a man who's being nice to you and portraying himself as your only key to freedom. But don't be fooled, because the next step is the accusation stage. And by this time, they already have a behavioral baseline for you. And what I mean by that is that the detective is comfortable identifying when you're uncomfortable or possibly lying. This is when that friendly, trustful aura will disappear, and it will be replaced with anger, disgust, and impatience for anything that is not in harmony with his conclusion. This is when they will start to say, "We know you did it for a fact. We just want to understand why." During this time, you will not be allowed to verbalize any denials. Any excuses or denials will claim to be contradictory to the facts. This is when they will raise their voice at you and tell you to stop and shut up. Not because, and this is not something that they made up. This is because police interrogation tactics implies that suspects should not be allowed to verbalize denial. This is an attempt to intimidate you into a confession. I need y'all to really pay attention to all this stuff, because most of y'all probably thinking back on times y'all been in interrogation rooms and thinking about all of these things that the cops did, and it's not personal. Do not take it personal. This is a reoccurring theme for them. They do this daily. Now listen, this part is important, because this is the fake evidence ploy. This is when the detective will lie and say that he had video surveillance, phone records, like they tapped your phone, they got witnesses, etc. All of this is a ploy to get you into a confession. And understand, it is absolutely legal. It is legal for detectives to use deceit during an interrogation to get a confession. And my advice to y'all for this is, when a cop comes presenting evidence to you, because a lot of times they will mix the truth with lies to make it more believable. But when they come present something to you, whether it's true or false, do not react. Do not react to it. If they have anything on you, let them work with that. Because if they have anything on you, you're getting charged anyway. Do not, I repeat, do not try to talk yourself out of the situation. It never happens. Don't try to don't try to make it make sense to the detective of how it wasn't you, because you're already sitting here. Just listen. Do not react to anything. That is my advice for that part. Please. And we almost done, y'all. Now, this is like the last one. And this is the theme stage. And I'm hoping that a lot of y'all don't even make it to this part, but this is when the detective will create two themes. And both of the themes, you did it. But in the first theme, you would be the monster, the menace to society, and this was premeditated, and just to get you the maximum, to scare you with that. And the second theme would be more understanding. It would be an accident. Oh, this was just an accident. You did it though, but it was just an accident. I understand. You feel me? I would have did the same thing if I were in your shoes. Some cops say shit like this. You feel me? But both of them are for the same outcome, a confession. And detectives are trained to spot your breaking point. It's things that you do with your body language to let a detective know that they got you on the ropes. And they are trained to snap on that as soon as they see it. And this is when they might move closer to you. They might put their hands on your hands. They might start talking soft to you again in a friendly tone. See, if they get you at that, it's not over for you if they get you at that point. But a lot of times you probably done said too much already and put yourself in a fucked up situation. This is why, if you don't ask for an attorney when you go into the district, what you should. But the procedure, how the detective is going to play it is, he's going to go probably call you a PD or something, but he's going to still try to talk to you while the PD is on their way. And that's up to you if you do that, but you don't have to. The best thing to do would be to call an attorney, because if you don't call an attorney, the detectives can hold you for 72 hours standing in homicide. And they will hold you for every last minute if you don't get no attorney down there, so that you can be released after the interrogation is over, if you can be released.